Okay, so I've taken the chocolate scones off the baking tin and put them onto a tray. Now you might have noticed that I actually use a roasting tin. So I use a roasting tin because it helps to draw the scones up. With it having high sides, the heat of it actually makes them draw upwards. And also having the scones fairly close together as well has the same effect. Sometimes I might have to turn the tray around in the oven just to make sure that all of them are cooked to the same amount. And it's a tried and tested recipe. So I'm going to carry on with the cheese scones now. So I'm going to add the cheddar to this. And then literally just mix this in with a knife. So I've rubbed the butter in, mixed in all of the other ingredients, and I'm going to use buttermilk. Buttermilk tends to give them a bit more richness, but also it reacts with the bicarbonate of soda in the baking powder and helps to make the rise. So these tubs come in at 568 ml. So I had the same amount of flour for my last batch, and I used probably about 400 ml. So I'm going to use the rest of this plus a little bit from another bottle. And really I just eyeball it. Pretty much the same as everything I do. I don't really go in much for measuring stuff unless it's really crucial. With this sort of thing I just look at the consistency and decide how much I want. I don't like my scone mix to be too wet, because apart from the fact that it's difficult to handle, it also tends to make them fall over when you cook them. So I don't want it soaking wet, but I like a little bit of moisture in there. Just enough to create a very slightly sticky dough, but not as sticky as most people seem to make them. I look at some of the guys on the TV and I think, why don't they fall over? And to be honest, they might do for all I know. There's such a thing as editing, but I don't do editing. What you see is what you get. It either works or it doesn't. So I can feel this now. I can feel how wet this is, and I can see how much it's drawing in the rest of the dry ingredients. If I scrape that on the edge of the bowl, you can see how wet it is. So I'll just push it all together a little bit more. And then if I need to add some more buttermilk, I can do that. I'll work quite quickly. I try not to get my hands in too much in case it makes the dough a bit tough. So the least handling I can get away with this stuff, the better. Just another little dribble in there. So you may notice at the back of my work table here, there's a little ramekin. And in that there's a mix of butter, which has been softened, Parmesan cheese, about half a teaspoon of cayenne pepper. So that goes on the top of these scones to give it just that little bit of added bite. I like something with a bit of heat. So it's slightly wetter than I would make a pastry. I'll just get my flour shaker. And I give it a very light knead, just enough to take the cracks out of it really. Now if you'll excuse me just a minute, I'm going to take the other scones out of the oven.